views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello, welcome to Open, the show that's opening the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm Daren Jaime. Today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, we'll discuss legal headlines and new laws in New York City with attorney and host of today's verdict, David Lesch. And then afterwards, we're going to sit down with Senator Jamaal T. Bailey discussing political news affecting our community, such as President Trump's impeachment and the cash bail reforms that can affect people right here in our borough. Plus, Planned Parenthood of New York City is announcing their expansion of gender-affirming hormone therapy at their health centers. We'll give you more details about that a little bit later on in the show. And then we're going to also sit with the CEO of Storefront Academy Charter School, discussing how the school is meeting the needs of each student and supporting all levels of learners. And then we're going to learn more about the documentary forum at City College of New York and their upcoming event, Harlem DocFest. And Right to Counsel NYC is a coalition supporting tenants facing eviction, and we're going to discuss that a little bit later on in the show. So we got that, and then we've got one more. We've got representatives from the Albanian Festival, an event celebrating Albanian history and culture. So if you don't know, we've got a stacked show, so all this and much more is heading your way. Stay tuned. We're officially open. And hello, everyone. I'm Daren Jaime. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, and you're watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. Now, you can stay connected to us on all our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on through the past week. We'll take you through it now with some Bronx updates. The MTA is rolling out its Tap and Go fare payment system at 48 more city subway stations next month. The swipe-free system, known as Omni, lets riders pay their fares with a contactless credit card or a mobile phone wallet instead of swiping a Metro card. Currently on Staten Island and buses and Lexington Avenue subway line stations between Atlantic Avenue and Brooklyn and Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan are equipped with Omni readers. However, that's all set to change. In December, the MTA will be installing Omni readers at every number 6 train stop between 51st Street and 125th Street in Manhattan, number 4 train stops north of 125th Street, and stops on the number 1 train between Rector Street and Columbus Circle. Moving ahead, the MTA plans to announce additional Omni-compatible stations, each with the full rollout expected to wrap up next fall, according to MTA Chief Revenue Officer Al Putri. Public transit riders will continue to use their Metro cards until July of 2023. Well, in other news, the 2019 Johnny Pacheco Latin Music and Jazz Festival at Lehman College, it's an annual event providing performance and learning opportunities for talented musicians who are studying music in New York City schools. Well, the event is taking place today, November 13th, until Friday, November 15th, at the Lovinger Theater at Lehman College. That's 250 Bedford Park Boulevard West. Now, for more information, you can get on the event. All you have to do is go to lehman.edu JazzFest. You can also watch the event live right here on BronxNet Television. Well, that is all the time we have for Bronx updates, but in other news, right here in New York has recently passed a series of cannabis laws discussing the usage, manufacturing, and possession of the drugs. Now, The law expunges past marijuana possession convictions and reduces the penalty for the drug. The question is, now how do these recent cannabis trends affect the community? Well, here now to give us more information, provide insight on the topic is my attorney, host, and today's verdict, my friend, David Lesch. Good to have you.
Nice to see you, Daren. Daren, last time I was here, I was able to talk to the viewers a little bit of some of the new laws that have come down from the legislature. I didn't really get to talk too much about cannabis in terms of the decriminalization. I want to get into that now.
Right.
At today's verdict, we actually had a whole show on it last night, and we had a few attorneys who were on there. It can get a little complicated, and that's really what I want to talk about today. There really are very few areas of the law presently that are really untouched. You know, maybe drones and airspace, and that's a whole body of law that necessarily is still being worked on. Cannabis is very much untouched, and most people don't really know what the law is and where the law is heading. So let's summarize a little bit of what's been going on here. There was a major push over the last 6 months to make marijuana use legal in New York. Right now, so that push was by those in the legislature, and Governor Cuomo tried to put that in a budget and would make it easier to pass. The legislators didn't want to put it into the budget. Ultimately, it wasn't put in there, and when there was a vote, there wasn't enough votes, so it was not legalized. Instead, it was decriminalized. And when you hear the word decriminalized, you think to yourself, well, then it means it's not a crime, but it is still a crime. So the question is, what does that mean in terms of you're using marijuana throughout New York City, and how does that impact other areas of the law? And that's really what I want to talk about today.
So use can still get you criminal penalties.
Well, yeah, it can still get you criminal penalties. The penalties are much less, and if you have higher levels that you've used in the past, you can have your record expunged so that it won't come up on different credit checks and on different employment applications. But it is still a crime. There are only 11 states that have made it not a crime, and New York is not one of them yet. We don't have the votes at this point. Will we have the votes in 6 months to a year? Maybe, but right now it's still considered to be a crime. Now, medical marijuana is legal. So if you have a prescription in New York, that's fine, and we're one of 33 states that have allowed that. But the question is, if it's still not legal, and even though it's not considered to be a high-level offense, how does it impact you in other ways? Well, I'll give you an example. You go for a job interview, and they do a drug test, and it comes up that you have some marijuana in your system, and you don't have any prescription for medical marijuana. Well, it's still considered to be a crime. Your employer can still not hire you. But what are the responsibilities of the employer in terms of turning you in or letting everybody know? No one's quite sure. The vehicle and traffic law, driving, lists drugs as things that will impact your ability to drive a car. Is it considered to be a drug? Well, right now it is considered to be a drug. If it's made legal in 6 months to a year, is it not considered to be a drug anymore? That affects your ability to drive a car. All still up in the air. This is very interesting, and some of the guests on the show last night were discussing this. You can go into the state Supreme Court with a minimum amount of marijuana in your pocket and just be really given a fine for that, and yet you could walk 3 blocks down into the federal courthouse and you could be arrested. So because that's in federal, it is a crime with higher levels of penalties. So the issues that New Yorkers want to know right now is, well, what happens if I'm walking outside and I'm smoking marijuana as opposed to I'm in my apartment on my couch smoking? Same thing.
Still going to be the same penalty.
Same penalty. So although most police officers really look the other way, and you're really smelling marijuana all throughout New York now, it doesn't mean that it's legal, and you still have to be careful. And it's similar to drinking alcohol outside. You're not allowed to really drink in an open container when you walk around the city. It's supposed to be in some type of bag or something. It's still considered to be a crime to openly drink alcohol outside. I mean, these are all laws that are on the books. How much are they enforced? We're really not sure. So here are the 5 burning questions. I'll get to them really quickly. Okay. Where we're going with marijuana and the laws that should be passed within the next 6 months to a year. First of all, will it become legal?
Right.
Actually, legal, you can use it whenever you want. Well, remember, these other states that did this, it was based on a public referendum. The public voted it in.
And there are a lot of modifications, too.
Yes, and not the legislature. So the question is, are we going to get there? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Number two, this is very important. Who's going to get the right to grow it and sell it? Is it going to be similar to the alcohol industry, where you have manufacturing it, wholesale, and retail? Are we going to break it up into 3 different tiers? That might be the better way to do it. Do we want just one billionaire who's going to be selling marijuana in New York and making it, or do we want many, many different millionaires? That's going to come up, and that's going to be discussed. Right. All laws are going to regulate it, and I think one of the most important things are going to be is the legal status of CBD. That's the oils, what
Which
you're
is
eating,
rising now.
Ingestibles, all these things that you're eating. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you at this point, and I know I am speaking quickly because there's so much to cover, is that we don't really know where we're going. But the interesting thing and the fun thing as an attorney is it's an area of law that's going to be developing. And certainly watch last night's show on Today's Verdict. You can see a lot about what these 3 lawyers had to say in terms of the recent laws.
So we're going to take a look at that. Of course, got to bring you back. There's a whole lot more to unpack. We can't get it all in this segment, but of course, that's why we got you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, David Lesch. Now, listen, if you need answers to difficult legal questions and legal issues, well, David's got you covered. All you got to do is connect with him on Facebook and Twitter at Today's Verdict, and always tune in to Today's Verdict on Tuesdays at 6:30 right here on BronxNet TV, and there you can catch David before you catch yours truly. All right, listen, got to take a quick break. We'll have more Open coming up right after this. And we are back. Democrats are pushing for the impeachment of President Donald Trump for his effort for having a foreign leader investigate his political opponents. Now, with this impeachment hearing happening today, what could this mean for the rest of his presidency? Also on the local front, new criminal justice reform will eliminate cash bail in New York, with this new bail reform taking place in January of 2020. The question is, what does it mean for the community? Well, joining us now to talk about more is New York State Senator of the District 36, Jamaal T. Bailey. Good to have you.
Good to have you, Daren.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, it's all right. It's all good. Let me get right at it. Before we talk to the last segment about decriminalization, right? That's huge for you because you got a bill that really deals with that.
Actually, the expungement piece was the bill that I was able to get passed in this past legislative session. So the biggest piece about expungement is this: people's lives have been ruined by the possession of cannabis. Whatever you think about it may be, it has limited people's access to housing. It has limited people's access to employment, to education. So even if we could not ultimately get the adult use legalization, we got expungement, and that's a huge victory for our communities. And any legalization, in my opinion, has to come with significant reinvestment in impacted communities.
When we talk about, David and I talked about legislation, getting it passed, right? It's really huge mountainous move up in Albany. How do you see this playing out? How quickly do we see this playing out?
It's been a huge culture change to change people's minds about what they think about cannabis. It has been derided for so many years socially. It's been a social pariah. But now people are starting to look at the benefits of medical marijuana. We have the medical marijuana program. And now people are looking at other states. Illinois was the first state to pass it legislatively in this past year. So now they've gone away from the referendum, and that legislature stood up and they were able to pass it in their own legislation, and the governor signed the bill. So hopefully in New York we can get that done this legislative session.
And talk a little bit more about staying with decriminalization. Also talk about cash bail reform, right? Because that's a huge thing on the legal front as well. It's going to end soon. Your thoughts?
So cash bail is going to end for the majority of for misdemeanors and the majority of nonviolent felonies. So what that means is this: we're trying to end detention based upon your wealth. And in the comparison has always been made. Harvey Weinstein gets to walk free, while other people they have to go in jail. It should not matter how much money you have in your bank account. That should not be determinant of whether you are free or not. And for too long in our state, too long in our country for that matter, people have remained incarcerated for so long solely because they could not afford bail. We had to put a stop to that.
Yeah, and so as we look at it right now, you're confident with the way things are going?
I believe so. I believe so. I think that we've done the right things for the right reason. This has been something that we've been looking at for quite some time, even though the Democrats were not in the majority in the New York State Senate. Mm-hmm. This is something that had been contemplated for years and years. We've had many conversations, and this is the right thing to do because wealth-based detention is abhorrent.
Well, I got you here. Talk to me a little bit about Rikers Island right quick. Your thoughts about that?
Well, the closure is important, but we have to make sure that we're looking at the borough-based system in an appropriate fashion, making sure that the sites of these borough-based jails are appropriate and closer. In my opinion, I believe that the site should be closer to the courthouse as opposed to the current location where it's at now. That's my issue and concern. But the issue with Rikers was that it was much maligned. There were a lot of things going on. So I do agree with the fresh approach, but we have to be more mindful and contemplative about the way that we go about that.
Yeah, we had Khalif Browder's brother here. We talked with him about that. A lot of people really became aware of the Rikers Island situation much because of Khalif Browder, and prayerfully that hopefully we'll get some great resolve out of this. You're optimistic that it'll happen sometime
Absolutely.
soon.
I've had multiple conversations with Hakeem Browder, his brother, and when we were able to get the speedy trial bill also passed Khalif's law so that, no longer will you languish in Rikers Island for so long, solely because, again, you can't afford bail or you accused of something that you simply didn't do. We're not asking to try to stop public safety. I want to be very clear about that.
Right.
I'm a father of 2 daughters, and I want my wife and my kids to be incredibly safe. But detention based upon you not having evidence, which is the discovery laws, speedy trial, you not being able to get to your trial fast enough, or simply because you can't afford bail, that's abhorrent, and I'm glad we were finally able to move away from that.
Moving along, today's big day in Washington, D.C., impeachment hearings. Your thoughts?
I would say it's about time. I think that our president, who holds the highest office in the land, we can't treat him any different than anybody else. He is not above the law, point blank, period. And we have to make sure that we hold him accountable to the same standards that we would hold any American citizen when it comes to breaking the law, when it comes to flouting laws about the quid pro quo, withholding aid, and so that you can have Biden's son investigated. That is something that is not. That's not something that a president should be doing, and I believe that he should be impeached.
A lot of people say that in order for the Democrats to win back the presidency, there's going to have to be a message greater than anti-Trump. Agree?
Without a doubt.
And do you feel like the message is getting across?
Without a doubt. I think that, one, you have to show that Democrats in state houses and Democrats in Congress, that not only are we there and occupying space, we are working. We are making this country better. We are improving upon 2016, the era of 2016. A new era can begin in 2020 if we get it right and get it done this coming November.
What we see happening, red states now becoming blue, recent election results, are you optimistic going into 2020?
I'm seeing more of a purple rain. I'm a Prince fan, but we're starting to see more of a purple rain. These red states are finally starting to see the error of their past ways and simply voting party lines when it doesn't benefit them. I'm all for bipartisanship, but you have to make sure that what you're saying is proper and that your representatives are representing the needs of the people, not just some sort of ideology.
Okay, gotta get the final question in before we go. On-time budget, right? We know that's a big challenge for New York State. You guys have been able to do it. Are you optimistic about an on-time budget this year?
Absolutely. With our new leadership and the leadership of Andre Stewart-Cousins and Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie, I think that we have historic leadership, and with historic leadership it's a new day in Albany.
All right. And any message you want to send to your district before we leave?
I just want to say thank you once again for allowing me to have the best job in the world aside from Nick's point guard. But honestly, being a state senator of the 36th Senatorial District, it has been incredible. I appreciate them allowing me to do that, and I'm going to continue to work hard for them.
You know, we can both try out for the Knicks and still make it today, right?
Listen, it's been rough.
It's been rough, I know. Senator Jamaal Bailey, thank you. All right, listen, now for more information on Senator Bailey, you can visit his website at newyorksenator.gov, Senator Jamaal T. Bailey. You can also visit him on social media at Facebook and Twitter at Jamaal Bailey or Instagram, Jamaal T. Bailey 36. Taking a quick break. We've got more open coming up right after this.
Praise the Lord. I'm Evangelist Barbara Mayo. I have a program called The Great God. I come on every Saturday at 3:30, channel 70 and 36 on Files. You need to catch me because it's a program to encourage, to lift up, and if you don't know anybody that haven't heard about the program, tell them about it. They'll be encouraged, for God is good. God bless you.
Well, today marks the start of Transgender Awareness Week. It's a time of celebrating the triumphs in the transgender and gender nonconforming community and acknowledging the discriminatory challenges they still face today. Planned Parenthood of New York City is committed to making our city and borough a place where no one experiences discrimination or violence because of their identity or expression. That includes expanding access to gender-affirming hormone therapy. And here now to share more is the manager of youth organizing at Planned Parenthood of New York City, Tiffany Barudian. Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great. So talk a little bit about Planned Parenthood in New York City. Obviously, you guys are doing great work, and this week is a very important week for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Yeah. So we just recently expanded gender-affirming hormone therapy to our Bronx Center. So we have it in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Queens, and Brooklyn. This is a service we've provided since 2016, and we've treated about 700 people since then. And research has shown that gender-affirming hormone therapy has extremely positive impacts for transgender people. It's very safe, and for many folks, including myself, it's a life-saving intervention, really. We use an informed consent model for folks over the age of 18. This is really a model to respect people's autonomy and decisions about what medical decisions they want to make. And we have financial counselors because unfortunately sometimes transgender people have trouble accessing healthcare. So we have financial counselors to talk with folks to make sure that they're able to afford this service.
There's something that's called the refusal to care rule.
Yeah.
So break that down for us, and what does that exactly
mean?
Yeah,
so there are many barriers that exist for trans people, especially transgender people, for accessing healthcare. Like these can be economic things, right? Like if you don't get family support, if you get fired from your job, there's an issue accessing healthcare. What the refusal to care rule says, it's a rule put forth by the Trump-Pence administration that was luckily struck down by the court last week. And it says that medical professionals can refuse care to someone based on their religious beliefs. So that would mean like if I got hit by a car or something, right, and EMT could look at me and not provide care, which is extremely discriminatory and offensive.
Right. How do you feel about that?
It's bad.
Yeah, right. And the conversation continues to happen, though. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of conversation about this, and with a week like this, providing awareness. What do you want people to know?
Yeah, so I mean, people can go to ppnyc.org and they can learn more about hormone therapy there. But in general, just that gender-affirming hormone therapy is safe. It has research has shown it to have overwhelmingly positive impacts.
Trans-inclusive healthcare, how's that working? I mean, are we seeing things get any better?
I would say so. And PPNYC, we're really committed to making our space accessible for transgender people. So, like I talked about before, there are these, economic, material barriers that trans people face in accessing healthcare. But there are also just like sometimes the healthcare space is not really affirming for transgender people. So we try to make sure that our staff at our health centers are make sure to use inclusive language, to respect the person, to not ask overly invasive questions, so that when a transgender person comes to our center to receive health care, they feel respected and safe.
What are some of the things, I mean, as you're talking with staff and educating, right? What are some of the things that maybe the common public can do in terms of being more accepting, more affirming, and just understanding the transgender community?
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful question. I think always being sure to respect and honor the transgender people in our own lives. People interact with transgender people every day and don't know it. We have information at ppnyc.org. We're super committed to expanding sexual and reproductive justice, healthcare across New York City. And that includes transgender people, and folks should know that as well.
And so how do people get the opportunity to learn more about hormone therapy?
So again, they can go to ppnyc.org, and we have some information there. And just in general, the message that it's safe and has overwhelmingly positive impacts.
And before I let you go, I know that you're doing some great work on CUNY campuses as
right.
well.
So I work as the manager of youth organizing, and we're in the process of, we have a survey for CUNY students to study their knowledge about sexual and reproductive health care on their campus. Folks can take that survey at bit.ly/CUNY-repro. And we're also working with students to create more accessible gender-neutral bathrooms across CUNY. These are really important for transgender and gender nonconforming students who feel maybe uncomfortable in the bathrooms that exist currently, and we want to make sure that we have more of those spaces for those students.
Well, Tiffany Barudi's manager of the youth organizing for Planned Parenthood of New York City. Thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thanks for having me.
All righty, listen, now if you want more information about their services, you can visit their website at ppnyc.org or call 212-965-7000. Once again, that number is 212-965-7000. And we encourage you to stay with us. We've got more open coming up right after this. We are back and glad to have you sharing with us here on Open. Storefront Academy Charter School educates urban youth of all learning abilities. Their mission, serving all students and their families, academically, socially, and emotionally. And joining us now in studio to tell us more details is the CEO of Storefront Academy Charter School, Dr. Nicole Garcia. Dr. Garcia, good to have you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you. So share with us a little bit about your school. I mean, it's an exciting school.
Yes, we actually have two campuses, one in the South Bronx and one in Harlem that just opened this fall. We've been open as a charter since 2015, but we service all students. We're really excited because in terms of attendance, we have over 95% attendance for the year, for like the last 4 years. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That means kids love school, and we love being there with them. We have 2 teachers in every classroom, which really kind of closes the ratio in terms of kids getting immediate attention for any of their needs. And we have a really high ESL population, and so we are servicing kids with all different kinds of needs. And many of their parents actually come to our school. We had an open block in the mornings where their parents come for English classes so that they can support their students and help learn English for themselves for everyday use and to support their children academically.
Walk me back to this. You talked about the 95% attendance rate, right? Now, going to school is not always the easiest thing to get kids to do, but you're able to get them to come at a 95% rate. What do you feel is the difference maker?
We have a lot of positive behavior incentives in place. Monthly, the kids are encouraged with trips and different incentives. You know, even as it relates to social emotional needs, kids feel safe at school. They really like it there. In the 4 years that I've been there, we've never had more than 2 suspensions in a school year. Wow. We have almost 400 kids. That's pretty exciting. So that shows that kids like to be at school. We have kids that have come from other schools that were bullied and didn't feel comfortable, and so they don't feel that way at our school. And so they do want to be at school. We incentivize them, and so that has a lot to do with it.
I know one of the things that you guys do also is give them the exposure to future career goals, occupations, things of that nature. How much of that is a difference maker, and talk about that?
Well, kids really like to work on the computers. They're learning about using the computers. We have a music program where some of the kids are taking violin. We really tap into what they're interested in. We have a rock band, like kinds of kids of rock after school for the extended day. So different things that they're interested in, that their parents tell us that they're interested in. We try to make those connections and get them those exposure opportunities. They've been to the NFL headquarters, NBA headquarters to find out about the different jobs that are there. Some of them learned that the video game, like I didn't know, the Fortnite, that they did work with that at the NFL headquarters. So they were really excited by those things. So helping them realize that their education is going to take them to another place beyond where they are right now keeps them engaged.
And you also do community service as well. You're in the beginning, well, I should say towards the end phase of a Thanksgiving drive, right?
Right. Well, we really try to adopt 6 families within our school every school year for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. But right now, we have the turkeys, and the sides are kind of slow coming in, but we are definitely looking for support and trying to help feed some families. About 30% of our school is homeless or in transitional housing. Wow. And so we know that that will make a big difference for some families. We actually have our partners at, some partners are supporting the kids for their own Thanksgiving luncheon at school, so that we can make sure that even if they don't get a Thanksgiving meal at home, that's going to be big and huge, that at least they will have something nice and memorable at school before we go out for break. That's so awesome. We have a couple of partners that are going to help support that.
And I keep going back to your attendance rate. I mean, given the fact that you have a homeless population at almost 30%, getting them to school sometimes can be the biggest challenge, but I see that that's not really much of a challenge because they're coming to class.
No, we have kids that are in shelter out in Long Island. We have kids in shelter in Brooklyn, and they still come to school. And I ask their parents, I'm like, you do realize you pass a lot of schools before you get to this one, but that consistency and that feeling of home is really important. And the level of support that we give to the children and families, we have a care closet in which we have a washer, dryer. We have all these extra clothes and toiletries, everything for them at school. So they like coming to school.
Well, Dr. Nicole Garcia, she's the CEO of the Storefront Academy Charter School. Thank you for coming and sharing, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All righty, impacting people. All righty. Well, for more information, guess what? You can visit their website at Storefront Academy CS, Storefront Academy CS.org. And for more information there, just tap onto the website and you can get connected to them. Stay tuned. We do have more show coming up. We'll be right back right after this.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
There's got to be other gay people in this borough.
That is the goal of this show, to give the community a voice.
As writers, as producers that write queer content, we definitely have to open the door for the person behind you.
The community always comes through.
Things are going to get real here. The community really does exist so far beyond just the L, the G, the B, and the T.
Whenever people are out and proud and loud, we get heard.
It's time to get serious about your future. At Bronx Community College, you can earn an Associate of Applied Science degree and become a medical laboratory technician in as little as 2 years. Earn an average salary of over $50,000 a year in one of the most rewarding careers in medicine. All you need is a high school diploma or equivalent to get started. Those who qualify can get tuition covered by grants and scholarships. So why wait? For program details, contact Bronx Community College today.
And welcome back. Harlem DocFest is a weekend-long festival of documentary films exploring the cultural richness and history of Harlem, along with critical issues impacting the community. And joining us now to tell us more about the festival is the festival coordinator, Allison Lights, and we're thankful for having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome,
Appreciate it.
welcome. So we've got a documentary forum going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Documentary forum's part of CCNY. It's came out of the MFA program. They are one of the very few MFA programs to really focus equally on documentary and feature film making, and narrative film. And so the documentary forum was a way to bring in the community from Harlem, from the area, from the Bronx, everywhere, to our events and have it be a place of exchange.
Yeah, so got to be excited about it.
We're very excited. We have a big festival coming up this weekend, the Harlem DocFest, Double Lens Harlem DocFest, and it'll be from Friday, November 15th, so this Friday until Sunday.
That's good. Yeah. So what can people expect when they come to the DocFest?
There's going to be lots of big screenings. There's everything's free, which we're very excited about. There'll be a couple different, so Friday night we're opening with Lisa Cortez and Farrah X's The Remix, which we're very excited about. And then there's a couple different social justice documentaries on Saturday, so at Mazel's Documentary Center. It'll be Brett Story's Prison in 12 Landscapes and College Behind Bars, which is a Ken Burns project, directed by Lynn Novick. And then Sunday we've got the Toni Morrison film and the Blue Note documentary by Sophie Hubert, and we're finishing up with Miles Davis, with the Miles Davis project with Stanley Nelson will be there as well.
That's awesome. So talk to us about, you're exploring the richness of Harlem, and Harlem has such a great history. Born and raised, right?
Yes.
So I feel good about that. CCNY student too as well.
Amazing, yeah.
I used to be the president of SAME.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
For those who don't know, SAME is Students for Arts, Media, and Education. Right, so there
Even
you go.
Better.
There
yeah,
it is, right.
Here.
But honestly, to have the opportunity to go back, take a look at some of the historical, relevance of Harlem, it's got to be great. And it's also great for the community as well, because this is something that I know many people have been talking about for a minute.
Yeah, one of the things we're really excited about with this festival is just that a lot of these projects are getting screened all over the country and in many festivals, but they tend to be either in private spaces or in sort of hard to access spaces. And so one of the things we're really excited about is really just being able to offer it in a community setting.
So for people who want to come, what do they do? How does it work?
You go to documentaryforum.org and there's all the links and everything to RSVP. It's all free. There should still be a couple tickets left, but I definitely recommend RSVPing sooner rather than later.
And this impact, talk to me about the impact, because this is a huge impact.
Yeah, I think, I personally have been very excited about, we're bringing in guests and filmmakers for every screening, and I think that's a really important part of just, you can have access to the film, that's one thing, you could download it on iTunes or anywhere you want, but for some of them, but really to be able to come and speak to one of you know, the people who made that film or one of the guests or one of the stars in it is just adds a certain level of feeling like you could also be part of that world, or like you have a better understanding of the project.
Exactly. And for you coordinating this, what's it been like for you?
It's been a lot.
Labor, right? I can't
It's
wait
a
for the
lot
day
of
to be
work.
over, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of exciting, right?
It is. It's very exciting. I think we're in the final throes of it, and then come Friday, it's go time. So we're
It's
excited.
like you can't wait for it to come, and then you can't wait for it to end. You can say
and then
it,
it's over, and you're really sad about it.
And
So.
before you know it, like all of a sudden, a couple days. But what do you want the great takeaway to be for people who are actually coming and taking it apart? Because obviously, this is a labor of love for you.
Yeah.
I mean, putting this together for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
What do you want people to be able to take away with this?
I want people to feel like they can be part of this space, right? I mean, Documentary Forum and the MFA program and all of that at CCNY has really made a big point of trying to welcome the community, and I think into CCNY and into that the independent film world, which can be very selective sometimes. And so that's sort of my bigger point and why I was really excited to take on this project for myself.
Well, good. Thank you for coming. Allison Lights, Festival Coordinator of Harlem DocFest, and thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Listen, now, if you want more information on the screenings and Harlem DocFest, all you have to do is visit their website at documentaryforum.org, and it's /Harlem DocFest, or / I should say, Harlem DocFest, or on social media at Documentary Forum at CCNY on Facebook and CCNY Doc Forum on Instagram. Don't go anywhere. We've got more open coming up right after this.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, The Essence, here, right on the set of The Essence Show. Please tune in each and every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Files 34, Optimum 68, and live streaming, BronxNet.tv. Or you better get in line.
Welcome back. Right to Counsel NYC Coalition is a coalition of advocates, tenants, academics, and legal service providers in support of the right to counsel for low-income tenants who face eviction in New York City. And on August 11th, 2017, the Right to Counsel Coalition won a 3-year hard-fought campaign, making it a right to have an attorney when you face eviction in housing court. Joining us now to share more about it is Community Action for Safe Apartments CASA tenant leader, Kim Statuto, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And got to be an important time for you guys, particularly you have some bills on the table that you're really looking to deal with.
We are. Bill 1104, which is asking them to increase the federal poverty level from 200 to 400 because somebody that is making $15 an hour possibly wouldn't be able to use right to counsel because of the income. So we're asking them to take it from 200% to 400%, which would include a larger gap of people that would definitely be able to access right to counsel free of charge. The second bill is 1529, which is asking the city to help fund tenant organizations that are out here fighting for the rights of tenants. We all too often see that the landlords have more rights in court than tenant. A lot of tenants are not in court because of non-payment of rent. They're there because things are not happening properly in their building. So with the city helping fund tenant organizations, it gets more people to know that they have a right to counsel. Right now, it's only in like 5 boroughs. I mean, 5 zip codes. Okay, we're trying to expand that further, that it hits everybody.
Can you make New Yorkers more aware about right to counsel? What exactly is right to counsel?
Right to counsel is having, you first have to live in one of the 5 zip codes that it affects right now. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's an opportunity to offer you an attorney if you're being put in housing court, not just through eviction, but maybe because of non-payment of rent and why you didn't pay your rent. You may have not paid your rent because you're not getting repairs. For instance, my building, 1515 Selwyn Avenue, Bronx, New York, 10457, has been without gas for 14 months. No cooking gas. We have right to counsel representing us in the court case against our landlord. So it's not only just for evictions, it's also for other matters in housing court and helping us navigate the housing court system, because it can be very confusing and very daunting and very intimidating.
If I live within that 5 zip codes, right, and I see that I have these challenges going on, how do I get an attorney through Right to Counsel?
Or you could reach out to righttocounselnewyorkcity.org, and it would further explain if you meet the requirement to come for them to represent you. Or you could go to a workshop at CASA on Saturdays where they give you the information and present you with a legal clinic that can help further assist you in if you need right to counsel.
You talk about your own personal experience, right, and what's going on in your building. How long has this been now?
It has been 14 months since we've had no gas. Please understand that the gas was turned off by Con Edison because our landlord did something illegal. He switched oil to gas illegally. Con Ed found out and the gas was shut off. This will be the second holiday we are not able to cook in our homes. 47 tenants.
And so where does it stand now?
We are in court. We are going back to court November 18th to hold him in contempt because he did not comply with the court orders. And our next step is taking him, filing a 7A against him. A 7A is actually asking the courts to take the building from him and put it in receivership, get the repairs done, get the gas back on, and when he's done all that, then maybe he can have his building back.
How does it feel for you being another holiday, having this experience?
To be very honest with you, it's very depressing. It's a fight I can't walk away from now.
Right.
I'm in it too far. I'm 14 months in. And to walk away now gives the landlord power, like, okay, I'm winning against them. Little by little, they're dwindling off. So I don't get to walk away now. I have to stay in it until it's rectified.
And you do so much work with Right to Counsel. I want to talk about...
Not only Right to Counsel, but CASA also.
Right. And if somebody has too high a rent, right, there are options available. If your rent is too high and you're really struggling, there are some things.
That's why we're asking with Bill 1104 to expand the income requirement from 200 to 400%, because there are people that may make 100,000 and are struggling, living from paycheck to paycheck, and don't have the legal options or paying an attorney. So that's why it's important to support 1104 and 1529, but 1104 is asking to expand the income poverty level.
Well, Kim, I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us. We're going to definitely make the people aware of Right to Counsel and the things that thank you for making us aware of your situation. I want Latricia to hear that one, so we're going to continue to follow up our producers.
Thank you.
Continue to follow up and find out how things work for you guys, and hopefully the holidays will be just a little bit better.
Thank you.
Kim, thank you so much. Stay right here.
Thank you.
All right, listen now. If you want more information, you can visit their website at righttocounselnyc.org or evictionfreenyc.org. You can also visit their Facebook at RTCNY or Twitter at RTCNYC. Taking a quick break. We've got more open. Stay with us. We're coming right back in a few. And welcome back. The Albanian Festival is an annual event held celebrating Albanian culture, tradition, and history through music and performances. We got some very special guests with us here to talk a little bit about this event. Artistic Director of the Albanian Festival, Orson Turmalaj. And then we've also got Master Choreographer for the Rosafati group. It is the group dance, Angelina Nika. And then we've got the vocalist, Michaela Noni. And we thank you so much for coming. Noni, right?
Thank you for having us.
How are you guys?
Good.
Well,
Excited and ready?
yes,
Yeah.
we are.
So for people who don't know about the Albanian Festival, it's an annual event.
It is. It is. It's our 29th year. We started in 1990. We are promoting our culture and our beautiful traditions. Every year we celebrate with our community and especially in the Bronx area to show our culture, our traditions with vest and our music instruments.
And so, Angelina, you have the opportunity of choreographing.
Yes.
So, talk to us about it.
Well, we have a lot of youth, new students, which they learn about our culture, and we try to save our culture to bring to them.
So, Michaela Noni, she's you're gonna be performing.
Yep, I'm going to be singing. I'm going to be singing an Albanian song. It's very, it's about Albania, and it's about how much it means to us. And I'm very excited to sing. I've been singing since I was really little, and I dance with her. She's my choreographer. She's a really good teacher. She helps us a lot. And I just love being Albanian, and I love expressing my culture throughout everybody and everything.
And it's a great time to actually celebrate the culture. For people who may not be familiar with the Albanian culture and the great richness of it, give a little bit.
Yeah, sure. It's we are, throughout the history we have shown, as you can see right now, her dress is over 4,000 years. Yeah, it's a very.
This we call jubleta.
Yeah, we call it jubleta, and we are very rich in our culture.
This dress right here?
Yes, yes. Albania, it's a small country located in Mediterranean, close to Italy, in border of Greece and Montenegro, but we have a very rich history of culture.
Yeah, so our culture is really special, and we have we have a lot of performances from throughout. We have Michigan coming to dance for us here at Lehman College, and it's a very big event for us. And we're very excited, and we're super ready, I would say. And we have a lot of other people coming, new groups also. Maybe Ersin could talk about that.
Yes, the program will be well over 2 hours because it's an annual festival, so it takes a lot to organize. We will be having dancers, singers, performers with instruments, and it's a well-organized festival.
Right, it's taking place at Lehman College, right?
Yes.
The place is here in Lehman College.
Right.
They're gonna perform a lot of dances from south. They start from south to middle, to north, and it's gonna be a lot of popular singers. It's gonna be 2.5 hours, a very rich program.
So for you, how long does it take you to choreograph a dance and get them to get it all?
Well, it takes time. It takes time, but they learn fast. They are fast learning.
Yeah.
They learn very fast. They love to. They love to.
And so for you, what's it like performing in front of the crowd?
Oh, it's crazy. So there's a lot of Albanians, and you're just in the moment, and you're like feeling the music, and you understand like everybody's hearing you, like what you have to say through your song, and it's really big. It's a big honor to sing in the festival for like me. I understand, and it's I'm just so grateful.
This year's festival has a very special dedication too.
Yes, each year we dedicate it to iconic figures of our country. This year we're dedicating to the founding father of Albania, the one that formed the Albanian government, Ismail Jamaal. And our program is also diverted through this dedication. And because Albania, it is a small country, but we have many groups, ethnic groups, such as Kosovo, Montenegro, Macedonia, and in south of Albania, Greece, Chamria. So we are Albanians all over.
Yeah.
Albania is big.
It's big.
Ethnic Albania.
Well, we want everybody to come on out and be a part of the very special celebration. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Around the corner. Let me see your, you got the, well, you'll put it up there and I'll get the opportunity to see.
It will be this Sunday, November 17th. The doors are opening at 4 o'clock. The program will start at 5. If you are interested to come, you can find more information at albchurch.org for more tickets. There are still tickets available. You're welcome to come.
Thank you. Thank you much. I'm actually going to be out of the country, so I can't come, so I'm not going to lie on television, but I'll be thinking about you. How about that?
Thank you.
All right. Good.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Now, listen, for more information on the Albanian Festival, you can find them on Facebook at Albanian Festival, or you can call them at 845-764-1682. Once again, that number is 845-764-1682. Get the opportunity to come on out to Lehman College, support the rich history and the heritage of Albania. Listen, we've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, and also you, the viewer, for tuning in. And if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Fios Channel 33, or watch us anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. And that wraps it up for us here on the set of Open. I am Daren Jaime. Make sure to keep this channel wide open. We're saying take care, God bless. You can catch Rita Valentine with a brand new, fresh episode of Open coming up on Friday. See you soon.